Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Switch on the notification bells so that you know I'm releasing another video. That actually really helps me out a lot. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. I can't run this channel without you. Today we are talking about the Doctor Who trailer, which was released on Sunday. But before I get into talking about this trailer, I'd like to address a couple of things. The first thing is yesterday in my Hermione Granger video, I actually made a factual error. I said I thought that the article had it correct that Hermione didn't have any skin descriptors. However, thank you to everyone who came into the chat and actually pointed out that she actually does. I'd forgotten that they actually mention it in The Prisoner of Azkaban. By the time this video is released, I will have made a comment on there saying that I made that error. So you will see that on there. But thank you for those who actually pointed it out. Now, I just also want to talk about a video that Mr. H did on Sunday as well. He said that he was making an accusation, and it was a bold one, that the BBC had brought likes. And this was because the watch ratio to the like ratio was not actually matching and the percentage was looking off. And he was referring to the fact that it was 10k likes versus 30k views. Tharies on Monday pushed back on that. He said that he believed that Mr. H got it wrong. He backed it up with evidence, and he also referred to him as dumb, as well as some other things in that video. I'd just like to point out that Mr. H actually had a very good point. He is correct that the average percentage for the view to ratio to like ratio is around 10%. Most of my videos are that way. He's absolutely correct that you can actually go and buy subscribers, likes and views. Thary's pushback also offers a very good point as well, and that there were so many people actually watching the video, this is what Thary's was saying, that it may have actually gone ahead and skewed the figures and caused YouTube to do a little glitch. Now, as to whether or not this was a rage bait from Mr. H, who knows? He presented some good facts, and Faris also presented some good facts. I just don't think that Faris should have called him dumb. We are, at the end of the day, human beings, and we can all agree to disagree on points, and that's absolutely okay. We don't need to call each other names. I will link, though, both videos for you to actually go and watch below so you can make a decision for yourself. I'm not actually going to weigh in on whether or not I think that the BBC have bought likes, and I'm not going to weigh in or not whether or not I think that either one is correct, but I just wanted to address that. Okay, so let's crack on with the review. I'm not going to show the actual trailer because I don't fancy getting demonetized on this video for the sake of a trailer. So I have taken some screen grabs and we're going to go back sort of old style on this channel, I guess you could say, and we will go from there. I will discuss some theories and I will discuss the quality, and I will include some subscriber comments because I also made a post about this trailer. I will do the subscriber comments at the end of the video. So the biggest question on everyone's lips is this series going to ignite any more interest? Is it going to get the previous, series more views? Is it going to get more interest? Is it going to bring it all back? There's rumours going around that Ncuti Gatwa has quit, that he has already filmed 2 possible endings, one where he continues on and one where he regenerates. And we all know that RTD, Russell T Davies, has gone on over to Channel 4 to work on Tiptoe. That means he'll be gone for the rest of the year as he's overseeing the production of it as well. That also means there will be either a full cancellation or a brief hiatus while they're trying to sort out what is actually going on with the show. We know that Disney has injected a huge wad of cash into into these 26 stories, which is obviously including the spin-off, which is the war between the land and the sea. It does not include a Christmas special for this year. People have been saying that the Christmas special has been cancelled this year. No, it's not been cancelled. They never confirmed a Christmas special at all. So it was never in the making with these 26 stories. I've watched the trailer several times, and it looks like that the money that Disney has injected into this has actually been spread more across the stories, more than it did the previous series. The previous series looked very underproduced in many respects, because a lot of what they had for the budget actually went on Sutek and that whole sequence with Sutek in the vortex. And they didn't really need to spend that money on Sutek, because we actually had a great Sutek from the pyramids of Mars, but he was problematic, so they needed to change him, apparently. However, overall, I do think that the production value looks a lot better than what it did in the first series. Does that mean that the actual series is going to be any better? Well, that would actually be debatable, and it is very difficult to judge from this early on as to whether or not that is going to be the case. You will know that when I go to watch this, I will do this as fairly as I possibly can. Just because I criticize things that the actors and the producers say does not mean that I can't look at their work in the context that is separate from it. A lot of that is my actual training. I had to do that as part of my musical theatre degree. But it looks like they have actually put effort in. So that is good to see, I guess. I just hope that they've not actually just compiled all the best shots and put them into the trailer. There are some definitely debatable things that do appear in this trailer, though. One that I will get to a bit later on when I actually get to the slide with the things that we're actually going to see within this trailer. It looks like they're trying to show us that it's going to be a lot darker than series 1. I've written here series 2 for some reason, but I meant series 1. But I would also say that there is going to be some goofiness because of, well, that slide that I'm going to show you later. I generally prefer the darker side of Doctor Who and the more twisted side to Doctor Who, as opposed to the fun and silly side that we got with the previous series, and it quite often infiltrates a lot of Russell T Davies' scripts, unfortunately. So we'll start off with Farada Sethu. She is going to be entering the TARDIS as the new companion, Belinda Chandra. We previously saw her in the episode of Boom playing Monday Flynn. In the early part of the trailer, they show that she does not actually want to be in the TARDIS travelling with the Doctor, and she demands that she returns home, and he, naturally of course, promises that he will get her home. I read in the comments section that people were intrigued by the fact that we were going to be having a companion that was going to be slightly antagonistic towards the Doctor and would disagree with the Doctor and not be so chummy with the Doctor. Now, for one, I would actually like to see this with regards to the shooty Doctor. It would probably make the building of the character relationship much more natural than what it was with Millie Gibson or Ruby Sunday. That's not a slight on Millie, by the way. She did actually have 2 Doctor-like episodes to actually contend with because Shooty wasn't there. And I think that also affected their relationship. And I believe a couple of the episodes were actually swapped over, so the continuity was not correct. They didn't actually make any effort to correct those for some reason. They should have, but they didn't. However, people are acting like we've not had that type of companion before. I understand that for some people, this may actually be new to them, a new concept, but this is not actually new. Ian and Barbara, when they first entered the TARDIS, demanded that they were taken home, and they end up taking the long way round. And they were at loggerheads with the Doctor for quite a while, actually. We also had that with Tegan when she accidentally walks into the TARDIS. She demands to the Doctor in her entire first series that he takes her home, and he actually gets her to Heathrow in the end of that particular series. And that's when she realizes, actually, I want to travel with the Doctor, but by that point, he's gone and she doesn't come back until her second series, which was the next one. And we also get that with Donna Noble. And Donna Noble's first episode, she just wanted to go to her wedding and then decides she definitely does not want to travel with the Doctor at the end of the story. So this is absolutely nothing new. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is Russell T Davies at this point really, does he have no new ideas for the show? There is so many plot regurgitations. They did it in season 1 for Ncuti, so many. And I also want to point out that her character is not a doctor like Martha Jones, but she is a nurse. But again, it's one of those instances where you think, oh, this is going to be another medical professional who ends up on an alien planet. And that does actually look like what happened in her first story. I think it's her first story. It looked like it. And then is assisting the Doctor with stopping the villain. Now, that may be me being way too judgmental at this point. I may have got that entirely wrong. They also connect her character from Boom to her now, and they make the specific point of including that dialogue, and the Doctor refers to the fact that he and Belinda are connected in some way. Does that sound familiar to you? The Doctor and Donna Noble are also connected in some way. Some weird force was joining them together. Clara Oswald was also like that as well. I'm just wondering if we are going to have another Impossible Girl storyline, companion-centric. I hope, if we do, that this one is not like a wet fart waiting to go off, though, because that was what it was like with the last one. If it is an Impossible Girl storyline, even though I wish they would stop, this one really does have to pay off. Now, I mentioned that I don't want the overarching storyline. I want the Impossible Girl storyline to be gone for as long as possible. I actually think it would be a good idea to go back to an older format where that does not happen. It doesn't necessarily have to be 4 parts to a story, or 6 parts to a story, or 12 parts to a story in 25 minutes like classic. I wondered if it would be a good idea to perhaps go back to a 50-minute to an hour story setup that had 2 parts instead, a bit like what they did during Colin's run. I understand that they don't want to do the longer format with the stories because they think that children can't actually focus on that. Now that's fine, even though I believe that children, young people actually can. I can accept that they don't want to do that. However, I do like it when the Doctor turns up on an alien planet and watches the companions get into an absolute mess. And then he is the one that saves them, and not the other way round, as quite often is with the Impossible Girl storyline. The Impossible Girl is the one that saves the day. The storyline was fantastic for Donna Noble. It worked, and that storyline made it the best series of the reboot. But they found a plot device that worked, and they kept reusing it, and it just came a bit stale. And I just think it should be gone. We also have the Doctor promising that he will keep Belinda safe, and we all know that this Doctor is irrational, as she basically tells him in the trailer, no, you can't. He can't do that. It's like she knows what exactly is going to happen, and it will happen to her, whatever it is. And we all know from the last series that the Doctor is very irresponsible and he does not pay enough attention to his companion. Remember what happened to Ruby Sunday in Rogue? She nearly died because he was too busy chasing someone else. Now, with this trailer for Ncuti's Doctor, they focused on him within regards to what he was actually doing on screen, instead of actually revealing anything about his version of the Doctor, other than he's going to try and keep Belinda safe, which we all know that is a promise that he can't keep because he is very irresponsible. Well, there's not much else really. I noticed that we have no fixed costume for him once again, but we all knew that was going to be the case, so when it comes to it, I just can't pass comment on it anymore. I would judge his acting now, but I don't think that would actually be fair. So I'm going to wait until the stories actually are released. I am sure that you would all like to hear what I actually think of his performances during the stories. You generally do. I do believe that he is miscast as the Doctor. He was much better in The Importance of Being Earnest. However, I also believe that he had weak scripts to work with. From the looks of it, he's much darker, that's for sure. As to whether or not he's got it right, well, I don't know. As to whether or not he's got the right script, I just can't judge it at this moment in time. But we seem to still be getting the honey babes, which is something that they introduced last series, and I wasn't very keen on. That does not sound like the Doctor. I don't really have much to say on any theories with regards to what's actually going to happen with the 15th Doctor, other than trying to solve the mystery of Belinda, because guaranteed it's all going to be tied in with her, and Belinda will be the one that ends up saving him and solving it all. There is one shot of him being blown into outer space from wherever it is. Guaranteed Belinda's going to have to save him. It will be Belinda. Absolutely. At least that's what it feels like. Or it's going to be some heroic, handsome young man who's going to swoop down and probably give him a kiss. Whatever we're going to get, I'm hoping it's not going to be a convoluted mess. One of my biggest concerns with this series is because they filmed it back to back with the other one, they did not have time to reshoot anything based on what they had feedback-wise from the first series. And we know that Bad Wolf have taken down the sets, and we know that RTD has moved on for the time being, and we know that there has been no go-ahead from Disney, and the BBC have said they won't know until after the second series has aired, which means they want to see the viewing figures in order to make a decision, and of course naturally for Disney to make a decision as well. So on this tile we have some images of what the Doctor will actually be encountering in this series. So in the top left hand image, it's the bones of a dinosaur of some description that have come to life. This doesn't really tell us much. It makes me think of the John Pertwee story, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Maybe we're going to have the invasion of the bones. It looked pretty cool on the screen, I won't lie, but from the trailer you can't really draw any connection, and there's no speculation behind it that I can see, so maybe it is a similar story to the John Pertwee one. The image on the top hand right, they make me think of emoji robots. I think that this one might be a little bit goofy, or it could be one of those things where the eyes turn red, so therefore the robots then become evil, a bit like what they did with the Ood. The middle left-hand picture is Mr. Ring-a-Ding, which is going to be voiced by Alan Cumming. I actually like Alan Cumming. I think he's really good. Now, this story I'm quite intrigued by. This is a very typical thing of Disney. Disney like putting 2D animation into live action. That's something they've been doing since around 1946 when Song of the South was released, and of course they also did it with Mary Poppins and Bedknobs and Broomsticks, so this is nothing new. I wondered if this was actually something that Disney asked them to do. This is something they've obviously spent the budget on. I know people say, oh, Disney are not involved, Disney are not making notes, but believe me, if you're paying a great big wad of cash like they are, you're definitely involved with what's going on the screen in some way, shape or form. Now, naturally, of course, this would be much, much darker than any Disney movie. This could actually be potentially quite scary. So I'm intrigued by this story. It looks like it's going to be in the 50s. I'm hoping this is one of those that does not resolve itself extremely quickly. It will be a letdown if it does. An evil cartoon character that pops out of the screen, and that sounds pretty cool. On the middle hand right, we've got what was my favorite part of the entire trailer. So in this trailer, this part sort of opens its mouth and kind of screams. It looks a bit metal. It made me think of the Trickster, but I know for the fact that it's very unlikely to be the Trickster, but it is exceptionally creepy. and I'm very intrigued by it. So hopefully this will be one of those stories that is actually really good. I like the fact that you can't see any eyes behind it. It looks like metal potentially. So hopefully this will be really good. I know it's like a needle in a haystack with this, but hopefully I won't be disappointed. Oh my goodness, why am I saying that? I know I have this feeling, it's just this urge that I can't shake. And it also looks like the doctor has a missing persons case on his hands. You can see in the bottom picture that there are a lot of missing posters and questions of, have you seen him posted on the wall? The missing person's name is Omo Asosa. I think I've said that correctly. Can't read too much into that one. And the thing is, I think, like, visually, the things that the doctor is actually facing look very good indeed, except for maybe the robots. Maybe they don't look quite as good. There's also a giant robotic spider. At least that's what I think it is. Weirdly, if you actually look at its face, it kind of makes me think of the original mask that they had for Sutek. Not saying that it is, it just made me think of that. It's not the same, I know. That's what it made me think of. But it looks really cool. I don't like spiders, so maybe I'll get freaked out. Maybe. We do get a glance of some familiar faces in this series as well. We got the return of Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Now, we don't actually see much of her in the trailer other than the fact that she is walking down a corridor and something passes the window. We get an over the shoulder shot and we don't actually see her face at all. However, as you can see on the screen, we do see Mel. So Mel returns, and in this shot, the houses around her seem to be crumbling in some way, shape, or form. Maybe some kind of vaporizing, or is it possible that they are going to be doing some alternate realities, some alternate universes? The trailer does mention that an entire reality is in danger. Oh, sorry, the entire reality is in danger. I must get that right. So something is playing with time, possibly. Now, could they be going down the route of another mythological god? It's possible. Is it possible, though, that Mrs. Flood has the ability to warp reality? The reason why I say this is because I genuinely do not actually believe that Mrs. Flood is the Rani. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she's not. For one thing, the Rani doesn't break the fourth wall. Secondly, she's not particularly interested in the Doctor, whereas Mrs. Flood actually is, it would appear. This is why I'm asking. Could it be a reality warper? Could she be the monk? Could she be a trickster? I think it would be all too convenient to say that it was the Rani. And I think that also she doesn't actually sound like the Rani. The cadences are not the same. Her actions are not the same. In this trailer, she is sitting down to watch a show with the Rani. Would she ever do something like that? Every time we saw her, she was always busy with some type of experiment. I think what RTD has done is he's purposely tricked people with this. He's done this on purpose. Sutek was very obvious to actually guess. It was way too obvious. But with this would be even more obvious than Sutek. For example, what I mean by that, right, okay, is Mrs. Flood, water, Rani. You can rearrange those letters and you can get the word rain. He knows that people would do that. So this is why he's put it like that. Now, I think that she is sitting down in this shot to watch the Interstellar Song Contest. And this is where I actually think it's going to become very goofy and we're probably, for the life of us, going to get songs. Yes, you heard me. The Interstellar Song Contest. Oh my goodness. Doctor Who, Eurovision. This immediately made me think of Bang Bang a Boom, which is a 7th Doctor Big Finish audio story. That is really more of a light-hearted jest. It is quite comical. I'm wondering if this is possibly an adaptation of it, or if it's where the concept actually comes from. Bang Bang a Boom is a whodunit with a lot of dramatics involved in it. Not really a story that I would have ever thought would translate to screen particularly well. And it's not a Big Finish story that I take particularly seriously. As fun as it is, they do have sci-fi well integrated into it, but I will actually take another listen to this story before watching this particular song contest. Well, song contest, I would say. And yeah, that's Rylan Clark you see on the screen. Now, I know Rylan is not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like Rylan. I have a soft spot for Rylan. I've got no issue with him. I don't mind if it's a little cameo. That's not so bad, but this looks like he's going to be a big part for, he's going to be in it for a good chunk of this story. I can imagine that he would actually just present the way that he normally presents, but back in the day for something like this, they wouldn't have actually cast an actual presenter to do it. They would have cast an actor to actually do it. And Rylan, as much as I like him, he is not an actor. I guess we would just have to wait and see how big of a role it actually is, whether or not there's actually any acting involved, like him doing behind the scenes stuff, or is it him just presenting and he's just presenting the way that he normally would in just a more heightened way. Who knows, really, at the end of the day. Now, I don't want there to be any more songs in Doctor Who. It makes no sense having songs in Doctor Who. I know everyone talks about Buffy, but to be honest with you, I didn't like that either. Maybe I'm just a prude. Maybe that's what it is. We also get the confirmation that Ruby Sunday is back, and she is pictured here with a young man, and there is something that is reaching behind his back. She says to him, "It wants you, scared." And he asks her, "Why?" And she replies, "Because it likes the taste." I wish that I had as much confidence to say that this kind of setup in a trailer is going to show what it's going to be like for the whole entire series. Because I would be pleased if the entire series was like this one shot here. This has got to be hide behind your cushions out of fear, but I'm a bit worried it's going to be hide behind your sofas because it's embarrassing. And that's because of the last series. So in this last slide that I have here, people have been saying it looks like Skaro, and these are Dalek spaceships. People have been speculating the return of the Daleks. I also heard that they were not going to be using the Daleks and they were going to be pausing them. However, I also heard that Ncuti did actually want to face the Daleks, so I actually won't begrudge him a Dalek story if that is what he wants. However, I have also heard so many different things that they are coming back and they are going to be redesigned. Now, that's nothing unusual. They've been redesigned over many years, and I'm just hoping that they're not going to be dressed up in certain colours because that will actually go against what they were based on in the first place. Do I think these look like Dalek spaceships? It's possible. Is this Skaro? It's possible. We do see someone getting vaporized in the trailer. It didn't look like a Dalek extermination as we know it, but if they've got a makeover and been updated, then maybe this is a new way of extermination. Not that I actually think it should be changed. It should be familiar to us. Now, at the bottom of the picture, there seems to be some kind of explosion going off, so it could be that they're involved in some kind of fierce battle. If they do actually bring the Daleks back, I think this will be part of the finale. Hopefully it's not actually anything to do with the Time War. Fingers crossed. What if the Doctor actually got exterminated? And I mean properly exterminated, not just half an extermination that they did with David Tennant, a proper job. Like, if Ncuti has filmed his regeneration sequence, maybe that is what is done. That we've never actually had a full extermination of the Doctor and him regenerate. Although, would he have enough time to regenerate if the Daleks exterminated him? Before I do my final conclusion, let's see what some of my subscribers have said. Paul Bowler 5345 seems darker in tone to series 1, but I dread to think about the Interstellar Song Contest episode. I would agree, Paul. I'm dreading the Interstellar Song Contest as well. I would hate to think that they have essentially adopted Bang Bang a Boom and made it worse. The great Bert 9005 said, "Yes, I liked the trailers, it sold the show, and I'm quite excited now. However, actually watching the thing each week is an entirely different experience. I'm expecting to be disappointed, to be honest, dreading the after show Unleashed episodes where RTD will tell us how phobic the audience is and how much they need his bitter medicine." The trailer was definitely better in quality. However, I actually didn't watch any of the after show Unleashed last year. I was waiting to hear about it when I went onto Brendan's channel, The Sensesphere. By the way, subscribe to him. So I could actually have a shocked reaction. Maybe that was a bit selfish of me. However, this year I probably will be watching the after show as well, because this time I think I would actually like to hear it for myself firsthand. And you know what I'm like? I prefer to research, really. Farsight NC1IB, it says, "Plenty of big effects, companion-centric, same old, same old. To be perfectly honest, I don't care if the stories are improved. I still won't watch it. Davies and Chibnall changed the Doctor beyond recognition and ruined 60 years' worth of canon. Davies, Gatwa, and Whittaker as well were so obnoxious to fans of classic Who, I have no intention of giving them any support." Yes, that's true. Davies and Chibs definitely changed the Doctor. I would say that the Whittaker Doctor still sounded more like the Doctor than this current one. Definitely not the Doctor, though. And I think your comment is very much a general consensus for what a lot of the classic fans are actually thinking and feeling now at this stage. And actually, even though I don't speak for all of them, I wondered if that may have happened to just New Who fans as well. Now, we actually get a lot of new footage within this trailer, and I'm glad there's a lot of new footage. Am I excited? Does this excite me? I'm not really that excited, and that's unfortunate. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, actually, and this is because of the previous series. Season 1, Series 1, was absolutely poor in the terms of quality of writing. Their writing pool this year, other than Pete McTighe and obviously RTD, is very debatable. Pete McTighe is the only one who has experience of the new writers coming in of writing Doctor Who. He wrote 2 Jodie episodes. The others do not have, as far as I'm aware, any experience for writing for the sci-fi genre on screen. We have trans activists Juno Dawson. Obviously, I know that Juno has done the Doctor Who podcast. We have the poet and playwright Noah Ellams, sorry, I had to read that, make sure I got that right, who believes that the Doctor is a refugee. And we also have Sharma Angel Warfare, who has some writing competition winning credits to her name and has a few screenwriting credits as well. It will be interesting to see what they actually come up with. Now, you will notice, as of yet, I've not actually touched on any demographics and any types of casting that may actually be controversial or anything like that. I'm holding off of that for now because I don't want to judge it too soon, and I'll judge it when the series lands. And I think I'll be able to judge it more fairly as well if I do it that way. I'm happier that the series is going, or appears to be going, in a much darker direction. My accent really came out there. But hopefully we will be able to steer away from the mythology and the fantasy as much as we possibly can and stick to what is really good and what is important with Doctor Who: the history, the sci-fi, the giving us the good proper storytelling. Well, I say all of that, but my expectations are not very high. Now, let me know what you think. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Like, share, subscribe, switch on the notification bell so that you know I'm releasing another video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye-bye.